let's go on to the next one.
Rumor. White passenger van.
Why? It's because of how absurd it is, right?
White passenger vans or commercial vans with external locks are a sign of trafficking. If you see these vehicles, you should be suspicious. Reality. Traffickers drive all kinds of vehicles. There is no evidence that they favor white vans or that law enforcement has information on specific trafficking cases in which the use of white vans was integral to the crime. Commercial vans typically don't have a lot of windows and may be used to store expensive equipment for a business, obviously. Which explains the presence of locks and bars over the windows to prevent theft. If you have witnessed or have personal knowledge of a trafficking situation or a missing person who was last seen getting into a white van, you should share with police the National Human Trafficking Hotline. But white vans in general are not a sign that trafficking is occurring.
Yeah, and this thing has been resurging recently, in media circles, stuff like that, and people talking about stuff, and I'm not even gonna mention websites, stuff like that, but it's just been all over the internet, and it just simply is not true. The last job I had before that job I have now, we had someone broke into the commercial van, and they messed up all the electronic locks. Like you couldn't unlock the door with the actual key anymore. So we had to have a lock installed, like the little metal plates installed, and then we can lock it up with the circle lock on the outside. And it was painful, but because we couldn't open the doors from the inside at all, we had to open it from the outside. But anyways, the point is like literally on my job, like we had that going on, but we had circle locks. But I didn't even hear that rumor at the time, so it's just crazy.
When I was working for Amazon for my short stint, before the company I was working for, because they would contract, had the actual Amazon vans. They had these little white vans, and it didn't have the Amazon logo or anything on it, so you could be driving down the road and nobody would have any idea that you're Amazon. And I was very uncomfortable being in those vans, but again, these are work vans. I'm not driving around trying to traffic people. I'm doing my job.
Yep.
But that was a common joke, which is definitely not funny when I was a kid, though, about white vans being people who are kidnapping kids or child molesters anyway.
Yeah, or even not white, or even just any color of a van. Like you see a commercial van, especially a black one. We see it. It's in Hollywood. These kind of tropes are reinforced in the media, where you'll have a black van come up and snatch somebody. And there's numerous movies, too many for me to even remember right now, where you see that scenario. But anyways, reality is, we already told you. So here we go. Next myth. Watching porn is harmless. So Maria Allen had this quote: "What we see often is what we get used to." All right. That's why you call it programming, because it programs you, right? Pornography hijacks the reward pathway in the brain and can become a compulsive pathway in the brain, similar to drug addiction. All right, and we're gonna take a look at this video real fast, a 5-minute video, and it's really powerful.
It's worth to watch. It is a good video. This is so essential and important, because this thing, and when I say this thing, I'm talking about pornography, is just plaguing the secular world and even the church.
Yeah.
So check out.
So and they're gonna tell you how it connects back to sex trafficking.
Absolutely.
So no, we're not just going off on left field here. No. So but check this out.
All right.
I think people think that watching pornography is okay because they say, well, everybody has consented to it and they're all paid actors and they're consenting adults, so it's fine. But the reality is, and I've heard this from survivors, and what they really want all porn consumers to know is that when you are watching pornography, you actually have no way of knowing if you're watching somebody being raped or voluntarily engaging in that act.
Pornography is really prostitution on screen. The traffickers are the same, the pimps are the same, the women and girls and men and boys are the same victims that are being sold in the sex trade.
There isn't pornography over here, prostitution over here, and trafficking over there. They're interlinked.
The most interesting study I read is one that did brain scans of men while they were watching pornography. And they wanted to see what areas of the brain light up when men look at porn. It's the part of the brain that deals with objects, not people. And why that is so devastating is the more we dehumanize someone, the more possible it is to commit violence against them.
When you see someone being really brutalized in pornography, that really has to be done to someone in order to film that. Sometimes we could call something sex trafficking, but if you photograph it, then it becomes pornography. And if it happens on a date, then it's rape. When in fact, we're really talking about the same kind of sexual violence and exploitation.
In our society, we glamorize the issue of trafficking. We glamorize pimping. We think that a pimp is someone that's cool. Like we'll have shows like Pimp My Ride or Pimp My House, and it appears to make something look good. But what is the reality of a pimp? A pimp is someone that abuses women, that rapes women. And is that something that we want to associate something positive with? My trafficker was someone that I met while crossing the street. He didn't say to me that, I am the big bad pimp. You're going to come with me. I'm going to beat you and abuse you and do all these things to you. He was very nice in his approach. I had no idea that he was a trafficker until I shared with him, hey, I needed money to go back to school, and he said, I'll help you.
He grooms her, tells her he loves her, builds a connection, builds a dependence on him. And then he says, if you love me, you'll not only sleep with me, you'll take care of my friends.
Almost all of them have had pictures or videos taken of them, whether it's been sold as pornography or not.
Pornography is used to desensitize the individuals involved in the sex trade. It is used to normalize violence and reduce the individual that's being bought to what's on that screen.
Pornography was oftentimes used as some sort of advertising for their sexual abuse.
Pretty much every trafficking victim I've ever seen, pornography has been created of them. And these are 12, 13, 14-year-olds. It is considered sex trafficking anytime a child is being sold for any type of monetary value in the United States. So when people say child prostitute, that's absolutely an incorrect term for them. It is always sex trafficking.
We've done some recoveries of young people where they were lured by modeling and eventually end up in a situation where they were forced to make pornographic films.
Trafficking is a symptom of a problem. It's a supply response to a demand problem. And so if we can address that demand problem, we can really solve a lot of these other issues.
I really wish that people who watch porn knew more about that, because I think they believe that they're engaging in this activity in a very passive way, and they're like, oh, I'm doing it in the privacy of my own home, and this is just a video that I'm watching, and they're not associating it with the fact that pornography is very often the filmed rape of sex trafficking victims.
When you look at pornography, what we're seeing is a cultural acceptance of that type of commercial sexual exploitation. What we don't think about is who are the actors and what are the elements that are contributing to this multi-billion-dollar sex industry.
That's that. All right. Oops. Sorry. So yeah, we're back, and yeah. So that's a powerful video, right?
Absolutely.
Like I hope that resonates with you.
Absolutely.
In a way that it causes you to move towards action. Yeah. At the very least, do something about it. Right. But just to reiterate, porn harms the individual, relationships, and society. And for more information, visit truthaboutporn.org.
Absolutely.
You know, because it's not just the harmless thing you're doing by yourself.
No.
Right?
No.
But I'm not going to beat that horse dead.
No.
So moving on. So how do you know what to look for?
Right.
Right. You know, I think I'm pronouncing his right name correctly. Kanani Tichin, MD. The eye doesn't see what the mind doesn't know.
Mm-hmm.
All right. This is from a TED Talk.
Mm-hmm.
And this was about, we mentioned earlier, right, about Romeo pimps. You know, they shower the victim with love and affection before breaking down boundaries. For example, a trafficker may ask a young person to perform a commercial sex act in order to gain money for their new life together. The person may then become more coercive and violent. So basically, it sounds kind of like, you know, yeah, you go ahead and be a stripper for a little while, you know, so that we can make it through this season, whatever.
Right.
You know, oh, well, you know, you can make more money if you know, take on these Johns and whatnot and stuff. And that's how it goes from there, you know.
Absolutely. Yep. And that quote that Kanani, or whatever her name, well, I don't want to mispronounce it, but that quote where she was talking about the eyes and what you see, there was a question asked to her, why is it that you are always able to pinpoint these victims and see the tattoos and stuff that they have or know that they're being trafficked? Why are you seeing more of them? She's like, well, it's not that I'm seeing more. It's that I know what to look for.
Yes.
These other doctors are getting probably the same amount of victims are coming in. They just don't know what to look for. And so they're not seeing it. And that's just practical for life in general. If we don't have the information or we don't know, we can be walking by somebody who's being trafficked and we have no idea. She was even pointing out, like I just said, certain tattoos that they have with them being branded.
Like money signs, stuff like that.
We wouldn't think about that. We'd be like, nice ink, you know?
Yeah.
And have no idea. So just this has been great with us studying this, just being informed and what to look for and how serious this is.
And I actually do look for stuff like that because I actually do start off a lot of conversations with, hey, you know, nice ink, you know? And it's an easy icebreaker.
Right.
Especially when it actually is good.
Right.
You know, there's people out there with some boo-boo tattoos and you don't want to be like, nice ink. And they're sitting there like, oh, this thing, I regret this.
Right.
But common human business fronts, again, we mentioned this a little bit earlier from the Polaris Project, modeling and travel agencies, employment companies, au pair, babysitting, and international matchmaking services, mail order brides, right? That actually is a thing and not just a joke. That actually is a thing. Oh. You know, massage parlors, stuff like that. You know, and I got some examples, you know, some stuff. So check this out, right? So I just for giggles, like I looked it up on Craigslist, right? And all I did was, as you can see up the top up there, you know, I went to Dallas and then went to domestic gigs. I didn't type in anything nefarious, right? You know, but what comes up? Female helper wanted in Plano. But check this out. This guy who posted this says, I am an attractive father. Why does that even matter?
Does that even matter?
I'm an attractive father, you know, blah, 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 blah. And then in addition, I need some personal assistance away from the home.
Wow. Yeah.
Sounds sketchy, like a sketch artist.
Right.
You know, and if interested, please send me your name and pic. Like, why?
Why does your picture matter if you qualify to do the word?
You know, and text me.
He gonna send you a picture back.
Wow. You know, and then $18 an hour, stuff like that, right? So here's the thing, right? So if you're if English is your second language, right? This might sound like you might not get the overtones that are being thrown here, right? You may not pick up on it. Or similarly, if you're underage, right. We mentioned before, until you're around 20, your prefrontal cortex is not fully developed. So you may not always have the ability to make rational, logical decisions, right. You know, to think critically. So this stuff wouldn't be posted if people didn't fall for it.
Well, absolutely.
All right.
Absolutely.
So it's there. It's right there in plain sight.
Yep.
You know, no dark web. It's on Craigslist.
Absolutely.
You know, trust me, I don't even know how to get to dark web. But there's another one, right? So
this one killed me.
Yeah, model female, right? So this guy looking for model again, right here in Dallas. You know, and I found these on my birthday actually, 9/13. But yeah, amateur female models needed for open-minded shoot, right? You have an open mind.
Open-minded shoot.
Again, these are the overtones we're talking about that may not be immediately picked up.
Amateur.
Yeah.
Female. Come on now.
Must be adventurous and fun to enjoy the gig. $150 an hour.
Wow.
You know,
that just sounds like we're gonna snatch you as soon as you get there. $150 an hour?
Yeah, you and your friend. Bring your friend and work together.
Oh my goodness.
You know, and again, you know, if English is your second language, you're not going to pick up on these overtones. You know, it's kind of like if we learn a different language and we're not going to understand the subtleties of slang and overtones and stuff like that. You know, somebody looking at that, you know, if you ain't got your papers, that's a good opportunity. You know, like I ain't got my papers, or you ain't got education, you know, or you're in a bad situation. You're trying to, you know, get out from the situation you are in already. You're gonna jump from one hot pan to the next hot pan.
Man, that modeling thing is not hard for me to believe, because I know at least 2 family members that one is currently a model, one who has modeled, and they talked about how even in the backstage when they're changing, like there's really no room for privacy. One of them had to go to the side and change on her own, but you have men and women just getting naked amongst one another.
Yeah,
it's just a thing, and they say, "Oh no, it's just because we got to hurry up and change, and it doesn't matter. Oh, we've seen that before." You know? And so that's not hard for me to believe that they would do something like that in the modeling business.
Exactly.
That's not to say all modeling is like that, but yeah,
exactly.